Today, we're going to show you how to build a pipeline in Digibee's platform. To start, click on Create a Pipeline in the top left corner of the screen. This will take you to our canvas, a space where you can drag and drop your components to create your integration. Every integration starts with a trigger, which is the command that tells integration to begin its process. This trigger can be an event, a scheduler, an email, an API, and many others, and we will show you how to configure that later. On the right side of the canvas, you'll find a list of pre-built components that Digibee has to offer. These are file storage, enterprise applications, files, flow, logic, queues and messaging, security. We also have structured data, as well as tools to transform files, and also web protocols. To start building a pipe, you can choose one of the connectors and drag and drop it to the canvas, or you can search it in the search bar. We will start with the REST connector. For this example, we'll be connecting to a public API, which will show us some general information about a certain zip code that I selected. To configure a connector, you can click on the engine button on the top of the connector, or you can double click on it. We will then put the request URL, switching to the API that I selected. This connector allows you to set up other properties for this request, such as the verb used, the account to be used for authentication, and others, such as query parameters and headers. Once you're done configuring your connector, click on Confirm. To connect one previous step to the following, simply drag and drop the arrow between them. To test this pipeline at any moment, you can click on Open Test Mode and click on Play. The API will then return with all information available about the zip code, such as population, average house value, average age, and etc. In the same place where you find your connectors, you'll also find the capsule resources. The capsule embraces different standard steps and technologies all inside the same connectors, so this can be used in different pipelines without having to rewrite all steps. The first library shows us a public library, which is shared among all Digibee users. And the second one is your Realm private library, where only you and your coworkers can access and share capsules. We're going to use a public USPS API connector, which allows us to calculate a price for shipping a certain package in different mailing services. So we'll drag this one, drop it to the canvas. To disconnect a previous step, I can simply delete it. And to delete a connector, I can simply delete it here. I'll connect our trigger to this new capsule. This capsule contains all the following steps. The first step is a JSON parameter generator. This step allows us to set up parameters for our query in a JSON format. We're informing the origination zip code, the destination zip code, pounds, and ounces. However, USPS's API requires to send an XML in the query parameters. So in the second step, we will build this XML based on the parameter setup in the JSON step. This connector is called a template transformer, and its configuration we will write the XML file, replacing the values for the parameter setup in the previous step. Now that our XML is ready, all we have to do is to configure a SOAP call through our SOAP connector, insert the URL available in USPS. And this URL will configure the query parameters, inform the API type, and the XML query that we just built. When we click on Open Test Mode and Play, the API will return with shipping options based on the parameters informed. Now, the capsule, for instance, incorporates all of those steps so you can use them in different pipelines without the need to rewrite all of them. See the following example. I will set up my parameters here. typing in my origination zip code, destination zip code, pounds, and ounces. I will confirm it, click on open test mode, and play. The integration will then run with different values. Now, to deploy a pipeline, you'll need to configure your trigger and save your pipeline. So let's configure a trigger as a API trigger. And let's save our pipeline. Once you receive the save confirmation, you can go back to your main screen. You can click on Runtime, and you can click on Create a New Deploy. You search your pipeline in the pipeline list. The system will show you the different versions available, and you will choose the size of your pipeline. Since the processing power needed for this pipeline is small, we'll deploy a small pipeline. Confirm. After deploying a pipeline, it will show us an endpoint that can be consumed, and your pipeline is ready. Thanks for watching this video.